Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa, and I think I've got pretty much concrete evidence here that the whole competitive rating system is literally a load of crap, and it is terrible, and it does a really poor job at showing you where you are as a player. Now, I'm making this video off the back of, honestly, a really bad competitive session. However, what I want to start this video off with, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it's fresh in my mind and I'll be able to get all of my thoughts out as well. So, basically, I've got one account that is 3,555 rated, right? That's a low master level account. I've then got another account which is 4.2k, right? And that account is, I think it's played 28 games this season. That's pretty good. That's where it is. That's awesome. And that is an account where I play Soldier and I play Tracer. And then I fill if I need to, but most of the time I'll play Soldier and Tracer. Or I play like Anna or Lucio or whatever, or Reinhardt. However, the other account is the most interesting thing. Firstly, the difference between those accounts is criminal. I mean, like, that if one account is 3,555 and the other one is 4,200, the difference there is massive. That is like a 700, well, it's a 645 difference there. No, actually, it's more, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's more. I can't even add up. It's a gulf, right? That would say that, okay, this player, it can't be the same person, right? How is that real? Well, let me just tell you what happened in my last competitive game. It was honestly the worst game I've ever been part of, and I've said this quite a lot recently, but this was so bad, right? There were 3 players who just didn't want to play. They just didn't want to play. Like, one of them was shouting abuse, the other one was just doing whatever the hell he wanted, and then the other guy was just, I don't know what he was doing. Like, he was just literally doing nothing. It was so frustrating to play, especially when you've got a bit of a win streak on the go. I know you don't get specifically win streak bonuses as such, but it's so frustrating. So this started to get me thinking, right, what the hell is going on? Like, how can the same player playing the same heroes be at 4.2? It's actually 4,230 and also 3,555. How is that possible? Now, if I only had one account, like, I've only been playing on 2 accounts this season, but if I only had the one account and it was at like 3.5k, I'd think, okay, I'm a master player, but actually I'm much better. So this kind of got me thinking, all of you guys out there, when you say to me, oh, Sty, why am I stuck in plat? What's going on? This and that, and I'm thinking, just be flexible, guys. Fill in, try and be positive, you know, work with the team. It obviously doesn't make any difference. Like, it is a pure gamble. When you play competitive, it is an absolute gamble if you're going to get a team that's going to work with you. If you do, and everything's fine, maybe the enemy is suffering from these troll players or these terrible players that just don't want to play for whatever reason. In fact, you could look at this quite a few different ways. So let's just say my highest rated account. That account, let's say it got lucky, right? So always had a team where I could play my best heroes, and always was against an enemy team that had a troll or a thrower or people who just gave up or whatever, or the enemy team had really bad team comps, maybe they didn't have a healer or something ridiculous, etc, and that's why that account got that high. And then on the other account, it's faced with a horrendous, it is 50-50. I'm going to say right now it feels like 50-50 to me, and in fact sometimes it swings in the opposite direction. If you follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming, you'll notice I put out quite a few tweets the other day, and I was like, guess what happened in these games, right? Guess what happened in these games? They were both defeats. Now, I was performing quite well. You know, I was really trying, like, I'm really having to break my back. And one thing I'm going to say as well is on the lowest rated account I've got, the low master account, that one, it is so difficult to play. Like, you really have to break your back. Like, I'm trying harder and I'm playing better on that account than I am on the other account, because on the higher rated account, players know, like, you know, Anna's going to give you the nano boost when you've got tac visor available, and you're just going to wipe you. You don't even have to ask for it. You know, it just happens. These things happen. Team comp is usually dive. It just gets built perfectly. If you're on Hanamura first point defense, it's a great little defensive setup. Like, maybe you've got a Symmetra or something, or maybe the Torbs bust out in the first point Hollywood or something. You know, it's like, it's fine, it's great. But what the hell is going on with the other ranks? Like, what is going on? And now this happens at GM as well, don't get me wrong, but this has just highlighted it to me in the clearest possible way that I'm getting really frustrated as a player here, because I'm going into games and having my time wasted. And there is one thing which, I mean, I'm banging my desk, can you hear me? There's one thing that I absolutely hate, and this stopped me playing League of Legends as well. I do not want to sit down for a 40-minute plus game. Okay, Overwatch is not 40 minutes. I guess it might be if you were like, no, it couldn't be that long, could it, on King of the Hill if you go right to the wire? But generally, King of the Hill is the longest game mode, isn't it? Like 20 minutes, maybe, let's say. But on League of Legends, I stopped playing that game because I'd be playing for 40 minutes with toxic players. And I'm like, I've got better things to do. I don't want to play with these guys. Get out of my game. This is happening with Overwatch though, and it's happening all of the goddamn time. I was hoping it was just because it was the start of the season, but it really isn't. What you get, right, is a lot of players who are really frustrated for one reason or the other. The first reason could be this account, which is like low mass, as I say, and it's always been low mass. It literally cannot gain SR. And actually, another frustrating thing to me is you've got so many games to play to break out, like where you get bonus SR given to you. So I could have theoretically got back up to GM with this account. Problem is that this account has burnt through its 50 or so games. And now you might be saying, Sty, 50 games and you're still at the same level. And I'm like, yeah, I'm literally at the same level because I'm winning and losing, winning and losing, winning and losing, winning and losing. It's suddenly driving me crazy. So anyway, you can look at this a couple of different ways, right? Why are people getting frustrated? Well, this is an account that is on the precipice, what a fancy word, of 2 tiers, isn't it? It's diamond to master. So that account there, people are really pumped. It's like, right, I've got into master playing whatever character, so I'm going to play this character and I don't care what the team says. Yeah, it's not really like you should care what the team says, but you can't just pick DPS. Like, there is the worst thing in this game is once you've got, the team has been selected, right, and you need a tank or you need a healer, and that guy picks Genji, and you're like, what? Okay, like I'll generally say on the microphone, alright, I can tank or heal. Can anybody, like, you know, do the DPS role? Because I'd be on the Tracer or the Soldier or even the McCree. And nobody is speaking. I'm like, what? And then we're going to the game. A guy pipes up as soon as we lose the first fight. Oh, we need no healer. What have we got to Genji for? And I'm like, mate, I said to you. And I'm getting really frustrated, right? Where I just want, like you can probably tell it in my voice, right? And I hope this is resonating with a lot of you guys. Right. So I've ranted about this now. I've ranted about, like, how the hell can the same player doing the same thing? It's not like I'm playing completely different heroes. I'm playing the same heroes. Have, like, let me work this out. 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. It's like 750 SR difference. And then it's more. It's actually more. What the hell? One thing it does show you is you can't actually carry at master, and you can't, right? You need the team to work together. You have to win by playing well and also having a team which works together. So anyway, the different types of people who I think possibly the reason why it is, like I said, where there's 2 different tiers, right, in low master, and it probably happens at every other tiers where they join. Players generally throw because they get really frustrated or they feel like the team's let them down. A lot of people have got massive egos when it comes to Overwatch as well, and they're like, no, get off the Tracer. What are you playing Tracer so bad for? I mean, I had a guy say to me that I was playing really bad, and I remember this game because I had 50 eliminations. I had gold, I can't remember what the damage was, but it was gold damage, gold eliminations, and I had about 9 or 10 deaths and 50 eliminations, and this guy says to me, you're playing a really bad Tracer, get off Tracer. And I'm like, I said, I'm doing okay. I don't think that's the problem. Oh, it is, get off the Tracer. And I'm like, what? So I didn't get off the Tracer, and this guy threw the game. This guy, I think he picked Junkrat and just did nothing. And I'm like, what am I to do in that situation? It's all very well and good me making videos saying to you guys, you know, try and work around these people. But when it happens all of the time, and what am I supposed to do? Like, was I meant to give that guy Tracer, even though I knew I was wrecking the enemy team with Tracer? It's like, okay, I'll give you Tracer and I'll just do something else. But the problem is that feeds into that guy's mentality of shouting at people, and it gets results. And honestly, it really doesn't. You know what? This might actually be a deeper issue than me just going on about this in videos on YouTube. Maybe this is an education issue. Maybe we need to start looking at the future, having kids when they're at school educate on how to act online, because it is crazy. Like, to me, I just don't get it. Like, especially in a team game like Overwatch, you've got to be able to just play as a goddamn team, not just be crazy and throw. So anyway, how could Blizzard fix this, right? So like I said, I've ranted about this, and I guess a lot of you guys can relate to what I've just said. And also, let me know your stories in the comments below, like how it's going for you. Like I said, I'm very lucky that I've got multiple accounts, but it does show a pretty stark tale if one is 4,230 and the other is 3,555 and literally cannot climb. Because it's not because of me. Like, I want to categorically say that it's not because of me. It's because my team are really bad a lot of the time. Like, they throw. Like, it's not like that. I don't think they're bad players. They can't be bad players, but they get triggered. Like, a common thing which happens is if you lose the first fight on a King of the Hill, they just give up. And I'm like, guys, what are you giving up for? And it's like, oh, it's no good now. And they start blaming each other. There's no healers. The healers are crap. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Whereas at GM level, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, we lost the fight, whatever. Let's regroup. We go again. You know, we lost it again. Oh, whatever. Let's go again. I mean, I've been involved in plenty of reverse sweeps as well. And it happens in Master as well, just obviously not as often. And like I said, the toxicity problem happens in GM. Anyway, I am ranting like crazy. So, how can Blizzard fix this? Well, there's a couple of options, I think, in my mind. The first one is we need solo queue. We absolutely need a solo queue ranked, because a lot of the issues I've seen will come from playing into like a 4-stack or a triple stack on your team, and they're generally much lower players, because the way the system works is it puts them together and says, all right, you guys are in a triple stack, so you've probably got better communication, you're probably going to work together a bit better, so we inflate your SR in a way, and then the enemy team has better players to compensate for this, unless it can find a similar 3-stack to match them against, which it does do. If it can't, then you'll go against an enemy team which is just basically better, and that's a problem, and a lot of those games result in a loss. Now, the problem with this is, right, Blizzard let you queue in groups, and it is fine to queue with your friend and play with them. It's fine, right? You know, I've done a lot of this, and it's fine. But it doesn't really work when the players are not as good. You know, I've been in games where there's been like 3K players with masters, like a triple stack, and it's like a diamond player in a master level game is a bit like, that's a difference, and even ridiculously so, because I know I'm much better than that level, and I'm like, what? it's really messed up. So, all right, so they're bringing a solo queue. The reason why I'd like this is because it gets rid of the grouping problem, right? And also it's purely solo queue, so it would encourage people to work together a little bit better, instead of just giving up when it's like, oh, you know, there's a triple stack, or blaming the groups, which is another stupid thing people do. Like I've just said, yeah, there is a case for them being maybe not as good as other players, but you can't blame them. You just got to work with them. It's like, you don't just go out there and blame your team straight away, because you're going to lose the goddamn game. The other thing they could do is reset the MMR. Now, they're not going to do this. I'm going to tell you why they're not going to do this. In fact, I've told you before why they're not going to do this, but they're not going to do this because, number one, they've just announced the Overwatch, what's it called? Overwatch, I forgot the name of it. The Overwatch thing, open division, Overwatch open division, which is for Master Plus players to form teams and play, like, competitively against each other in 6v6 like competition games. So they're not going to reset your rank, are they? If they've just announced that and it's based off rank. Also, they're probably never going to reset your rank because they use that information to build you and rapidly adjust you for the start of the next season. But clearly it doesn't work. I mean, the question is, why is my account, that is 3,555, why is it low masters to begin with? Well, that account finished the season at 3.8, I think it was. And I lost most of the placement games, and it put me down in low masters, of which then I lost like 5 games, I think, straight away, and I was like, wow, this is quite bad, and it put me at really, really low masters. And then obviously it is low masters, right? But it's been stuck in that area, and it's such an interesting thing for me to discuss and just try and work out why this is a problem. So potentially that could be a way how Blizzard fix it, but I don't know. The fact remains, ranked competitive right now in its current state is very random. It just depends on who you're going to get into your team. There are 5 other dices that need to be rolled, right? There are ways you can make this easier for yourself. Don't tilt yourself, don't be toxic, and do try and be flexible to some degree. However, you've still got to roll the dice for the 5 other players, right? I think the safest thing to do is duo queue. Get a friend and that you know you can rely on, that is going to play a role, or maybe could play 2 different roles. So maybe they're a tank and a support, and maybe you're a DPS and a tank. So at least you can swap around if you queue into 4 other people who need those roles that you wanted to play. So you can be a bit flexible. But that's going to give you more options, you see. But like I said, reduce the risk of randomness by being clear-headed yourself, and just hope that you get 5 players that are willing to work together and use voice comms. And even if they're not going to use voice comms, at least use text chat, or at least be willing to communicate. Now, I know this video has been a bit ranty, guys, but like I said, Overwatch is like, it's the biggest passion I've got, and it really frustrates me to sit down for hours on end and just have and feel like my time's being wasted, because if it's happening to me, it's happening to you guys. And if that's a problem, Blizzard have got to sort that out, because I don't want to keep playing in competitive when it's just totally random. Oh, am I going to get a good team this game? Oh no, I've got Hanamura, so what's going to happen here? Oh, nobody wants to play a tank. Okay, I'll play a tank. Then nobody wants to play a healer. It's like, well, but I was playing Anna. Guys, we need a tank, and nobody cares, and we run to the front, and we've got 5 DPS and a Reinhardt, and I'm like, what? Now, like I said, this happens at every level, but it seems to happen more often. The problem is, when I'm talking about GM and all of that stuff, it's great for me to talk about that, whatever, I play Overwatch like an animal, but that is the highest level of the game. That's like, under 1% of the players. Everybody else must be subjected to what's happening to me in the lower tiers, and we've really got to work something out. We've got to, as a community, we've got to work something out to fix this. Guys, I've been Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost, and partly, well, the onus is on Blizzard to fix this, isn't it? So we're going to see what we're going to do. We know that they're going to bring out harsher penalties for trolls and throwers and toxic players, which is good and is a good step, but there's going to need to be more to just make this a, like, if you go into competitive, you need to go in there with the mindset of, yeah, I'm going to play as a team. Like, I've come to play as a team. I've come to work together. I've not just come to play Genji, even though that guy's insta-lock Genji, and if he's not going to give him me, well, I'm going to be toxic to him, then throw the game. Oh, guys, it's making me really frustrated. I've been Stylosa anyway. This is Unit Lost, and leave your stories in the comments below, and join the Discord, which is discord.gg/UnitLost, to find very nice people that you can play the game with. And, yeah, follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming. And I'll catch you next time, guys. I am going to lie down. Toodaloo.